Get ready for something crazy. Want to discover 2 hours of fun facts? So you'll never run out of things to talk about. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's dive in. Ever notice that newborn babies cry without actual tears? They can scream their lungs out, but they won't shed a single drop until they are between 2 weeks and 3 months old. Their tear ducts simply aren't developed enough to produce real volume yet. They might sound like they are weeping inconsolably, but their eyes remain bone dry. Think solar panels love scorching heat? Think again. Extreme heat actually overexcites the electrons in the silicon, killing their efficiency. The perfect weather for a solar panel to hit 100% efficiency isn't the Sahara Desert. It is actually a freezing sunny day just like winter in the Swiss Alps. Sometimes ice is the secret to ultimate power. California is sitting on a ticking geological time bomb. The San Andreas Fault stretches for over 600 miles, and its southern section hasn't had a major rupture since 1857. Geologists calculate that the chance of a massive earthquake with a magnitude over 6.7 hitting within the next 30 years is over 99%. It is not a question of if the big one hits, but when. Those four-wheeled ATVs look incredibly safe, but that illusion is highly lethal. Clapping your hands is way more than just making noise. When you clap in unison with a crowd, your brain enters a state of tribal synchronization. It floods your system with oxytocin and endorphins, instantly connecting you acoustically to hundreds of people. On top of that, clapping stimulates key pressure points in your palms. Your hands are literally wired for happiness. A city bus weighs over 15 tons. If buses were programmed to pull over at every single empty stop, your commute would take 3 times as long, brake maintenance would cost millions, and city traffic would completely freeze. Those stop buttons aren't a luxury. In Istanbul, stray cats aren't just tolerated, they are treated like royalty. Hundreds of thousands of street cats have been first-class citizens since the Ottoman Empire, when they saved the city from plague-carrying rats. Today, local governments build them heated shelters, and they have an unwritten free pass to sleep inside local cafes and sacred mosques. In a crowded emergency, the biggest danger might actually be the crowd itself. This is the bystander effect, where everyone assumes someone else will take action. But if there's only one person around, they shoulder the entire responsibility and step up. That's why in a real crisis, you should never yell for help generally. Deep in Poland, there is a house built completely upside down. Its roof rests flat on the ground while the foundation points straight toward the sky. Stepping inside is so disorienting that visitors regularly walk out dizzy within minutes. It was built as a social critique of a topsy-turvy world, proving that flipping your perspective completely breaks your reality. There's a secret tropical island that storms completely ignore. Aruba sits in the far south of the Caribbean, just a few miles off the coast of Venezuela. This exact geographic sweet spot keeps it mathematically safe from the hurricane belt, while other islands face devastating tropical storms. Did you know that tiny dot over the lowercase I and J has a special name? In typography, it's called a tittle. Monks added it during the Middle Ages to separate the letter I from similar-looking letters like U or N in tightly packed, handwritten manuscripts. Your eggplant parmesan might actually be giving you a microscopic nicotine buzz. Botanically, eggplants are berries because they contain internal seeds, and they actually belong to the nightshade tobacco family. They contain trace amounts of nicotine, but don't worry about getting hooked. You'd have to eat 20 pounds of eggplant in a single sitting to feel any physical effect. Deep in the jungles of Madagascar lives a creature that sounds like a whale, but leaps like a superhero. This is the Indri, the world's largest lemur, known for throwing out eerie, high-pitched wails that sound exactly like a humpback whale singing in the treetops. The nicotine in tobacco wasn't made to hook humans, it was designed to kill. The tobacco plant produces nicotine as a natural defense system to paralyze the nervous systems of invading bugs. While humans find it highly addictive because of how it interacts with our brain chemistry, washing a duck with dish soap can actually end in a silent tragedy. Ducks stay buoyant thanks to a special protective oil secreted from their preen gland. If you strip away that oil with heavy soap, their feathers will instantly absorb water like a dry sponge. Nature created a biological bulletproof vest just to survive a killer bite. Cougars always hunt by biting down directly on the throat. So to survive, the wild guanaco evolved neck skin that is 3 times thicker than the rest of its body. When a cougar lunges and bites, its razor-sharp teeth get completely stuck in the tough leather. Millions of sunflowers were planted around Chernobyl and Fukushima for a terrifyingly beautiful reason. These flowers are powerful hyperaccumulators that vacuum up radioactive isotopes like cesium and strontium directly from the poison soil, storing them safely in their stems and petals. They are nature's own beautiful radioactive vacuum cleaners. A healthy snack for you can be an instant death sentence for your dog. Grapes are completely harmless to us, but even a single one can trigger sudden, irreversible kidney failure in a dog. They contain tartaric acid, which our bodies process easily, but a dog's system can't filter it out. During World War II, the German Navy built a helicopter that looked like an engineering mistake but flew like a dream. This was the Flettner FL-282 Hummingbird, featuring 2 interlocking rotors spinning in opposite directions to provide incredible stability. Only a tiny handful were ever built for shipboard reconnaissance. That cheap supermarket burger patty you just bought contains a crowd. DNA testing reveals that a single, inexpensive ground beef patty can contain meat from up to 100 different cows. In massive industrial processing plants, leftover trimmings from thousands of different animals are tossed into giant grinders. Sticking your chopsticks upright in a bowl of rice in Japan is an absolute disaster. It is considered one of the worst insults you can commit at the dinner table. In Japanese Buddhist tradition, that exact gesture is reserved exclusively for food offerings placed on altars for the dead during funerals. There's a real lake in Australia that looks like a giant bowl of bubblegum milk. This is Lake Hillier, and its vibrant pink color is totally real. Scoop some into a glass, and it stays pink under any light. The magic comes from a tiny alga called Dunaliella salina, which pumps out red pigments in super salty water to shield itself from the sun. Ever wonder why some big-rig trucks drive around with their wheels floating in the air? Those are lift axles, designed to raise up when the truck is empty. It cuts down on tire friction to save fuel on return trips, and stops tires from wearing down when there's no heavy load to carry. Imagine driving a car designed by a refrigerator company. That was the iconic BMW Isetta, built right after World War II, which opened exactly like a kitchen fridge with the entire front serving as one giant door. The absolute wildest part? The steering wheel and pedals were bolted directly to the door. In India, there is a giant boulder that defies gravity on a steep slope. Known as Krishna's Butterball, this massive 250-ton rock sits perfectly balanced on a hill with barely any surface contact, refusing to budge for over 100 years. A local king once harnessed 7 elephants to pull it down. Deep in the forests of Asia lives a goat antelope that looks like it has 4 eyes. This is the sero, a bizarre creature with massive preorbital glands right beneath its real eyes that look exactly like a second weeping pear. It rubs these fake eyes against trees and boulders, leaving behind a sticky, intense-smelling goo to claim its territory. Talk about keeping an extra eye on your property. Gold's real value isn't just because it's rare, it's because it's functionally immortal. It is one of the only metals on Earth that never rusts, resists almost all acids, and never breaks down over time. The gold in your ring might have once belonged to an Egyptian pharaoh. The longest mountain range on Earth is completely invisible to us. Stretching for over 40,000 miles, the mid-ocean ridge wraps around the globe like the seams on a baseball. You wouldn't exist today if it weren't for a prehistoric virus. Millions of years ago, an ancient retrovirus hijacked the DNA of our ancestors, and that viral fragment eventually evolved into the syncytin gene, which is absolutely vital for developing the placenta. There's a tiny muscle between your eyebrows that speaks louder than words. It's called the procerus muscle, a small triangular muscle that pulls your brows down and flares your nose. This is the exact muscle that lets you flash a look of pure disgust or anger, sending a clear message of rejection to anyone looking at you. Your beloved air fryer is actually built on a marketing lie. It doesn't fry a single thing. It is actually just a compact convection oven with a high-powered fan that blasts super hot air around a small basket, rapidly roasting the outside of your food to mimic that satisfying, oily crunch. Space isn't actually silent, and NASA has the recordings to prove it. Scientists converted electromagnetic vibrations captured from outer space into actual audio tracks. The rings of Saturn produce an eerie, ghostly hum, while Earth sings its own continuous cosmic melody. Brushing your teeth does way more than just protect your smile, it protects your heart. Your mouth is a direct highway to your bloodstream. When bacteria inflame your gums and cause them to bleed, those microbes hitch a ride straight to your cardiovascular system. In fact, cardiologists regularly find common mouth bacteria. During pregnancy, a baby leaves a permanent biological gift inside its mother. Thousands of fetal stem cells cross the placenta and integrate into the mother's heart, lungs, and brain, living there for decades. If the mother suffers a heart injury years later, ever wonder why the smell of gasoline is strangely satisfying? Gas contains benzene, a chemical compound with a mild anesthetic effect that triggers a subtle rush of euphoria when inhaled. Because your olfactory bulb is wired directly into your brain's memory bank, that scent instantly triggers nostalgic memories of childhood road trips. Without ultra-precise clocks in space, your phone's GPS would be totally useless. Atomic clocks are so precise they won't lose a single second in 15 billion years. To pinpoint your exact location on Earth, satellites have to coordinate signals down to millionths of a second, otherwise, your map would be off by miles. The man who first broke the sound barrier did it with 2 broken ribs and a broomstick. In 1947, Chuck Yeager climbed into the experimental Zone aircraft in agonizing pain. Unable to reach and lock the cockpit hatch, he used a sawed-off broom handle to pry it shut. One of the world's fastest-growing sports was invented because of a bad real estate problem. Padel was born in 1969 when a Mexican businessman wanted a tennis court in his Acapulco home, but didn't have enough space. He built a miniature court instead, but the balls kept flying into his neighbor's yard. An annoying property line created a global sports phenomenon. The highest peak on Earth was once at the bottom of the ocean. Mount Everest reaches nearly 29,000 feet into the sky, yet the rock at its very summit is limestone packed with ancient marine fossils. Even if you left your car baking in the perfect desert sun all day, a solar roof would barely generate enough power to drive an extra 3 miles. Commercial solar panels only operate at around 20% efficiency, meaning the added weight and cost completely wipe out any benefit. The word sushi doesn't actually mean raw fish. It literally translates from Japanese as sour rice. It started out as an ancient preservation method, where fresh fish was packed between layers of fermented rice, so the acid would kill off bacteria. Back then, people threw the rice away and only ate the cured fish. Next time you eat corn on the cob, try counting the rows. Every single ear of corn always grows an even number of rows because its cells split in perfect symmetry. If you ever find one with an odd number, you are holding a major genetic mutation that occurs only once in several million years. There is a gang of mountain parrots in New Zealand that will happily dismantle your car. This is the Kia, the world's only alpine parrot, and they are a complete nightmare for tourists. If you park your car in their territory, these highly intelligent birds will work in teams to rip off your windshield wipers. When your freshly washed dog immediately sprints outside to roll in the dirt, they aren't being bad, it's pure ancient wolf instinct. That sweet lavender shampoo you used is basically a giant neon sign alerting prey and predators to their exact location. Penguins gave up flying in the sky to conquer a much tougher element. Water is 800 times denser than air, so evolution fused their wing bones together, turning them into rigid, paddle-like flippers. They might look clumsy waddling on ice. A simple light bulb swap in Japan and Scotland managed to save lives. When cities replaced traditional orange streetlights with calm blue ones, crime and suicide rates instantly plummeted. Psychologists believe the color blue triggers a deep calming effect, forcing people to pause and rethink their impulses before making a terrible mistake. The parking brake is designed to keep a parked car perfectly still, not to stop a speeding one. Hitting it at high speed locks your rear wheels, sending you into a violent, uncontrollable spin because it doesn't have the anti-lock brake system your pedal brakes do. All those slick movie stunts would total your car in real life. Hollywood lied to you. Formula One tires come off a race feeling like sticky, chewed gum. They pick up tons of dust and tiny rubber shreds from the track, making the car heavier. And here's the twist. That extra weight is actually a blessing. Be careful with starfruit. It contains caramboxin, a neurotoxin that healthy kidneys can handle just fine. But if your kidneys have even a hidden problem, the toxin slips right through and crosses the blood-brain barrier. The first warning signs are uncontrollable hiccups and sudden confusion, which can escalate into seizures. During the Vietnam War, the U.S. launched Operation Popeye. They seeded clouds with silver iodide to create massive rainstorms, turning enemy supply routes into impassable seas of mud. When the classified program was finally revealed, global outrage was so intense that by 1977, a male pufferfish swims tirelessly for weeks, flapping his fins to carve a breathtaking geometric mandala over 6 feet wide into the ocean floor. All that artistic effort has just one purpose: to impress a single female and convince her to lay her eggs right in the center. Those Scottish Highland cows don't have their massive, shaggy bangs for fashion. The Highlands are brutal, with freezing winds and swarms of aggressive flies. That thick fringe is designed to protect their eyes from nasty infections and even prevent snow blindness. Speed bumps are getting a genius upgrade. Some new ones are hollow rubber tubes filled with a non-Newtonian fluid. If you crawl over them at 12 miles per hour, the liquid simply parts and you barely feel a thing. But try to take one at 40, and the sudden impact locks those molecules together. Lion cubs can't roar until they are nearly 2 years old. Their voice box simply hasn't developed yet. So when they're tiny, they sound exactly like a house cat. They meow for food and purr when their mother licks them clean. That iconic scene from The Lion King where Simba tries to roar as a cub is biologically impossible. During World War II, an elite unit of artists known as the Ghost Army saved thousands of lives without firing a single bullet. They used inflatable rubber tanks, pre-recorded sounds of real armored divisions, and fake radio broadcasts to completely deceive German forces. Their incredible story was classified top secret for over 50 years. Flipping a coin isn't actually a 50-50 gamble. Mathematician Percy Diaconis proved there's a physical bias. There is roughly a 51% chance the coin will land on the same side that was facing up before you tossed it. The physics of its spin in the air keeps the original orientation locked in longer than you'd think. A rock hyrax looks like a chubby little guinea pig, but run a DNA test and you'll find its closest living relative is the African elephant. It has the identical bone structure in its feet, tiny little tusks that look eerily elephantine, and a surprisingly advanced memory system for its tiny size. Seeing bright colors and smelling fresh produce makes your brain release dopamine, instantly putting you in a better mood. Plus, buying something healthy first thing gives you a huge moral win that shuts down your guilt, making you far more likely to toss junk food into your cart later. It is psychological warfare disguised as a taste test. Deep inside Uranus and Neptune, massive heat and crushing pressure turn methane into solid diamonds that rain down toward the planet's core. Scientists have even replicated the process in labs, creating tiny nanodiamonds here on Earth. Both planets could be hiding vast oceans of liquid carbon. The tiny muscles that give you goosebumps are useless in humans. Their only job is to make your hair stand up when you're cold or scared. In ancient ancestors with thick fur, this trapped a layer of warm air. In furry animals, it makes them look bigger to an enemy. An Australian thorny devil lizard can drink water just by standing in a puddle. Its entire skin is covered in microscopic grooves that act like tiny drinking straws. Water travels automatically across its body, straight to the corners of its mouth, without a single muscle twitch. It is a perfect evolutionary solution. The hero shrew has a spine like something out of science fiction. Its vertebrae are massively thick and interlocked like gears. A fully grown human, weighing 170 pounds, can stand directly on its tiny back without crushing a single bone. It's a creature built like a tank. The city of Shibam in Yemen is a miracle of ancient engineering. 500 mud brick towers, some as tall as 11 stories, were built in the 16th century without a single piece of steel or cement. They are made of pure sun-dried mud and wood. As of the year 2026, physicists still can't perfectly explain why a bicycle doesn't fall over. It's a bizarre mix of gyroscopic effect, mass distribution, and the angle of the front fork. If you give a riderless bike a good push, the #1 cause of workplace injuries isn't heavy machinery. It's far more boring and far more deadly, slipping and falling on the same level. A simple unmarked wet floor or a single loose cable in an office causes more spinal cord injuries worldwide than all the industrial equipment combined. If a plane has to make an emergency landing on the ocean, those wings become a deadly, slippery slide. That's why you'll see 2 bright yellow hooks on top of every aircraft wing. Flight attendants use them to tie a rope from the emergency door, creating a quick handrail so passengers can walk across the wing. Owls look round and fluffy, with little claws peeking out from the bottom. But that is just a clever trick of the feathers. Lift the lower feathers of an owl and prepare for a shock. They have extremely long, bony, muscular legs that make up almost half their entire body height. They need those long legs to absorb the violent shock of dropping out of the sky onto their prey. The urban legend about a firefighting plane sucking up a scuba diver is a complete physical impossibility. These planes don't use a suction tube. They skim across the water surface at nearly 100 miles per hour, filling their 1,500-gallon tanks in 12 seconds through small intake grates, no bigger than a shoebox. When a bullet train brakes hard before entering a tunnel, it is pure physics. If it blasted in at nearly 200 miles per hour, it would push the air ahead like a giant plunger. That compressed air would shoot out the other side, creating a sonic boom violent enough to shatter windows in nearby towns and rupture eardrums. Every single Spanish Christmas lottery ticket is printed with invisible inks and embedded silk fibers that only show up under ultraviolet light. This makes it impossible to cash a high-quality photocopy of a winning ticket. Each one of those colorful slips is a security document as technologically complex as a real banknote. A person who is actually drowning doesn't scream or wave their arms like in the movies. Their body switches to automatic survival mode. Total silence, a perfectly vertical position, head barely bobbing at the surface, and arms pushing down as if climbing an invisible ladder. Bird lungs are completely different from ours. They are rigid, they don't inflate and deflate like a balloon. Instead, they use air sacs that act like bellows, forcing air to move in a single continuous loop. This makes their breathing far more efficient than ours. Inside the Arctic Circle during summer, the sun simply doesn't set for weeks on end. In cities like Tromsø, Norway, the day never ends. Life there adapts with permanent blackout curtains and people going about their business at any hour. The Eiffel Tower changes size with the seasons. In summer, the heat expands its iron structure, making it grow up to 6 inches taller. In winter, the cold shrinks it back down. It's a living, breathing structure that literally responds to the weather. expanding and contracting with every temperature shift throughout the year. On the moon, there is virtually no atmosphere, so sound has no molecules to travel through. Even if you tried to whistle with all your might, absolutely no sound would leave your helmet. On top of that, the different pressure inside the helmet makes whistling physically very difficult. In space, you can't even hear yourself make a sound. New Zealand's tuatara is the last survivor of an order of reptiles that walked with dinosaurs 200 million years ago. It has a literal third eye on the top of its head, complete with a lens and retina. A cruise ship 20 stories high shouldn't be able to stay stable on the open ocean. It stays upright thanks to massive, computer-controlled underwater fins. These detect the movement of an incoming wave in milliseconds and twist the fin in the opposite direction underwater. Parrots have their own language. When a chick is born, its parents assign it a unique vocal signature, basically a personal name. The chick memorizes that exact sound, and for the rest of its life, it uses that specific squawk to introduce itself to other parrots in the jungle. The United States operates 11 active aircraft carriers, 300-foot floating airports. Russia countered this with the Poseidon underwater drone, a nuclear torpedo that can cross entire oceans at extreme depth and detonate near an enemy coast, generating a radioactive tsunami. It is a duel between the visible power of the surface and the invisible terror of the deep. Major museums like the Louvre only display about 5% of their collections to the public. The other 95% is locked away in high-security underground bunkers. In case of a fire, those bunkers are wired with systems that instantly flood the rooms with nitrogen gas to extinguish the flames without using a single drop of water. In every car dealership on the planet, the front wheels are always perfectly straight, and the logo on the steering wheel is perfectly aligned. This is a deliberate visual trick. It makes the car look like it is ready to launch forward the moment you sit down, unconsciously increasing the urge to buy before the customer even gets in the driver's seat. The Panzer VIII Maus tank weighed 188 tons and was practically invulnerable. It was a true monster of armor. The problem was it couldn't cross any bridge in the world, and its massive engines overheated constantly. Only 2 prototypes were ever completed before the end of World War II, and it never saw a single real battle. Elephants are one of the very few animals that recognize themselves in a mirror. In experiments, they will touch marks painted on their body with their trunk marks they can only see in their reflection. This proves they have real self-awareness. Only the great apes, dolphins, and some incredibly intelligent crows share this cognitive ability. In a twin pregnancy, sometimes an embryo dies very early on, and the surviving twin simply absorbs it. The baby is born perfectly healthy, but that person is a chimera. They carry 2 completely different sets of DNA within the same body. Their blood might hold their own DNA. The superb bird of paradise has feathers that absorb 99.95% of all visible light, making it one of the purest blacks in nature. During a mating dance, it fans these feathers into a perfect oval of absolute darkness, making its bright electric blue eyes the only thing a female can see. Your veins aren't rigid pipes. They are suspended in loose, slippery connective tissue under your skin. If a nurse's needle enters at a slightly wrong angle, the pressure pushes the vein tube aside, forcing them to dig around under your skin, hunting for the hidden vessel that keeps sliding away. An oasis isn't just a lucky puddle in the desert. The wind erodes the sand down into a deep hole until it hits a hidden underground aquifer. Fossil water trapped there for millions of years bubbles up to the surface. The water you find in many ancient oases can be 20,000 years old. The Zhangjiajie Mountains in China are massive pillars of sandstone that rise over 3,000 feet into the sky while being only a few feet wide. The fog makes them look like floating islands. The directors of Avatar admitted that this very landscape was the direct inspiration for the floating mountains of Pandora. A panther chameleon doesn't change color to hide. That's a complete myth. It changes according to temperature and mood. When cold, it turns dark to absorb more sunlight. When it sees a rival or wants to impress a female, It changes the distance between microscopic crystals in its skin to reflect neon red and yellow. It is a living mood ring, not a camouflage artist. Earwax isn't dirt. It is a mixture of oils and sweat designed to trap dust and bugs before they reach your eardrum. It even has active antibacterial properties, and your body pushes it all out automatically every time you move your jaw to talk or chew. A reusable water bottle that isn't washed with soap is a bacterial breeding ground. After just 2 days of humidity, a microscopic slime layer forms on the inside walls. Lab tests have proven that a bottle you only rinse with water can accumulate more fecal bacteria and germs than the top of a public toilet seat you never cleaned. The McGurk effect proves that your eyes can hear better than your ears. If you watch a video of someone's lips clearly saying times FA times, but the audio plays times B, your brain will literally override reality and make you hear times FA. In the forest of Gryfino, Poland, 400 pine trees have a strange, perfect curve at their base, all bent to the north. They were planted in 1930, and still, no one knows why they grew like that. Theories range from deliberate human manipulation to make curved wood, to strange soil anomalies. The secret died with whoever planted them. Launched in 1958, the Vanguard 1 satellite is the oldest human-made object still orbiting our planet. Its predecessor, Sputnik 1, launched a year earlier, re-entered the atmosphere and burned up just 3 months after takeoff. Vanguard 1 is still circling the Earth, a silent ghost from the Cold War. A three-toed sloth has terrible eyesight and relies mostly on touch to get around. Sometimes it will reach out a claw and grab a tight hold of its own arm, mistaking it for a branch. When it lets go of its main grip to reach for the next branch, in the middle of the Turkmenistan desert, there's a crater that has been burning non-stop since 1971. Soviet geologists set the escaping gas on fire, thinking it would burn out in a few days. At night, the glow is visible for miles. It's been burning for over 50 years. Walruses can fall asleep floating in the open ocean without drowning or lifting a finger. They have special air pouches in their throat called pharyngeal sacs that they can inflate at will. These act like a built-in life vest, keeping their head above water while they sleep soundly for hours. They literally nap in the middle of the sea. Incognito mode doesn't make you invisible online. Your internet provider, your employer, if you're on a work computer, and every website you visit still know exactly who you are and what you're doing. All it does is stop your own device from saving the browsing history and cookies from that session locally. Estonia was the first country in the world to offer digital residency. Anyone on the planet can apply to become an e-resident of Estonia, legally open a business in the European Union, and manage it from anywhere in the world without ever physically setting foot in the country. Not even once. White mushrooms, cremini, and portobellos are sold at different prices as if they're different species. They are the exact same fungus, the only difference is age. The white one is the baby, the cremini is the teenager, and the portobello is simply the same mushroom left to grow into full adulthood. The bontebok is a beautiful African antelope with a striking white face and a ridiculous evolutionary flaw. It is physically incapable of jumping over objects. While other antelopes clear 10-foot fences with ease, the bontebok would rather crawl underneath. This quirk nearly drove it to extinction. In Florida, a man named Edward Leedskalnin single-handedly built Coral Castle, moving limestone blocks weighing up to 30 tons without any modern machinery. He worked in total secrecy for decades, driven by a broken heart. No one has ever fully explained how he did it. Seagulls sometimes tap dance furiously on park grass, stomping their feet at high speed. They're not playing, they're mimicking the sound and vibration of heavy rainfall. Earthworms, tricked into thinking they're about to drown, crawl to the surface, and the gull eats them without digging a single inch. The saiga antelope has a bizarre, bulbous nose that works like a high-tech air filter. In summer, it filters out steppe dust. In winter, it warms freezing air before it reaches the lungs. These animals can hit 50 miles per hour, but they were pushed to the brink of extinction by poachers hunting their horns for traditional medicine. At the center of the most violent hurricanes, there's an eerily calm zone with no rain and barely any wind. Sometimes you can even see the stars through the gap in the swirling clouds above. That deceptive silence has killed people who stepped outside thinking the storm was over, only to be hit by the second wall of fury minutes later. Racing motorcycle tires become almost sticky when they hit around 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what allows riders to lean at 60-degree angles without sliding out. Try the same lean on a cold street tire, and the bike would launch you into the air instantly. Zero chemical grip means zero chance. 90% of your serotonin, the so-called happiness hormone, isn't made in your brain, it's produced in your gut. If you eat heavily processed food every day, you inflame your intestines, kill the bacteria responsible for making serotonin, and trigger real episodes of anxiety and biological depression. At Maho Beach in St. Martin, the airport runway sits so close to the sand that planes pass just a few feet over the heads of sunbathing tourists before touching down. People travel there specifically to feel the brutal engine blast. Warning signs everywhere remind you that standing that close can be genuinely dangerous. The Bridge of Sighs in Venice, where couples kiss under it in gondolas, has a horrifying backstory. It connected the interrogation rooms of the Doge's palace to the prison dungeons. Those sighs weren't romantic, they were the final laments of political prisoners crossing the bridge. When stress overwhelms your body, the vagus nerve pulls the emergency brake, crashing your blood pressure to protect your heart. If your blood sugar drops at the same time, your brain shuts off the screen and you faint. Hitting the floor is actually your body's perfect reset mechanism. Gravity rushes blood back to your head without any effort. The most dangerous object in your kitchen isn't a machine, it's a dull knife. A sharp blade glides through food effortlessly. A dull one forces you to push hard. The moment it slips off the skin of a tomato, all that uncontrolled force goes straight into your fingers. In Linz, Austria, the pedestrian traffic lights show hearts and couples holding hands instead of the standard stick figure. They were designed to promote inclusion and respect. The idea spread to other European cities, turning an everyday object into a visible symbol of tolerance at every single crosswalk. Tractor tires run at much lower pressure than car tires, so the rubber flattens out and spreads the weight without compacting the soil underneath. If the ground gets packed too tight, plant roots can't push through and the crops die. Those massive tread patterns bite into soft earth to keep the tractor from spinning out. Every groove has a purpose. If synthetic fertilizers vanished overnight, the apocalypse would arrive within months. Right now, 50% of the nitrogen in your own cells comes from those artificial factories. Without them, Earth could only feed about 4 billion people. The other half of humanity would starve almost immediately. The tasseled wobbegong shark has the most effective camouflage on the ocean floor. Its body is completely flat, and fleshy, fringe-like appendages around its mouth perfectly mimic seaweed. It lies completely motionless. The Belvedere Palace in Vienna uses forced perspective as a psychological weapon. The fountains and pathways narrow as they rise, so when you stand at the bottom looking up at the upper palace, it appears far more massive and imposing than it actually is. It was deliberately designed to intimidate guests before they even reach the front door. South Africa is the only country in the world with 3 official capitals operating simultaneously. Pretoria handles executive power, Cape Town handles legislation, and Bloemfontein handles the judiciary. This unique split was deliberately designed to prevent any single region from holding all governmental control over the entire nation. The Phone 17 Nighthawk was the first aircraft ever designed to be invisible to radar. Its extreme angular shape deflected radar waves instead of bouncing them back. It was so aerodynamically unstable that it needed a computer just to stay in the air. It operated in total secrecy for years before its combat debut over Baghdad during the Gulf War. If the sun suddenly went dark, we wouldn't notice for 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That's how long its light takes to reach us. Gravity also travels at the speed of light, so Earth would keep orbiting a ghost star during that window. After that, the sky would go pitch black in an instant, and our planet would be flung into the endless void. When someone with a massively inflated ego gets publicly cornered, they don't apologize. They experience a narcissistic collapse. Their ego isn't real confidence. It's a fragile shield hiding deep shame underneath. When that shield cracks, the brain panics and responds with either explosive, destructive rage or flips into extreme victimhood to hijack the conversation. At Lake Baikal in Siberia, methane gas trapped beneath the ice can actually catch fire. The gas seeps up from the lake bed, and when ignited, it creates flickering blue flames dancing on top of the frozen surface. If you have European or Asian ancestry, you carry between 1 and 4% Neanderthal DNA in every single cell of your body. That ancient code influences your immune system and your adaptation to cold climates. We are a genetic mosaic, carrying our extinct cousins woven permanently into our own biological blueprint. California's Shake Alert system detects the very first seismic waves of an earthquake and fires alerts to cell phones with precious seconds of advance warning. Those few seconds are enough to automatically stop trains, open trapped elevators, shut off gas valves, and get people to cover. It doesn't predict the quake, it simply announces that one has already started and buys you time to react. Rhinos carry almost no body fat. Beneath that skin, which can be up to 2 inches thick, lies nothing but massive, dense muscle. They are also remarkably long-lived in the wild. They typically survive 40 to 50 years, making them one of the longest-living land mammals on the African continent. Varicose veins happen because pushing blood from your feet all the way up to your heart is a massive fight against gravity. Your veins have tiny one-way valves, like little doors that only open upward. After years of standing or due to genetics, those doors break. The pyramids of Giza are aligned with the cardinal directions with less than 1 degree of error. The ancient Egyptians used the equinox method to orient them without any modern technology. That tiny imperfection isn't a mistake. It reveals the limits of a manual technique and makes their astonishing precision even more mind-blowing. When you overeat at a buffet and 20 minutes later you desperately need the bathroom, it's not the food you just ate, it's a neurological reflex. When your stomach stretches suddenly, it sends an immediate signal to your large intestine, ordering it to clear out the old inventory right now to make room. Sharks don't have a swim bladder to control buoyancy. Instead, they have an enormous liver that takes up a full 25% of their body, packed with squalene, an oil less dense than water. It acts as a built-in biological float that keeps them hovering at whatever depth they want. The treadmill was invented in 1818 as a punishment device for English prisoners. It was a massive cylinder with steps where inmates walked 6 to 10 hours a day to grind grain. It destroyed joints so badly that it was banned in the 19th century for being excessively cruel. The sensitive plant moves fast enough for you to watch it happen. Touch its leaves and they snap shut instantly, making the plant look wilted and unappetizing to any passing herbivore. The movement comes from a rapid pressure change in the water inside its cells, working like a tiny pneumatic system triggered by physical contact. It's a plant that flinches. The fisherman's bastion in Budapest was never a real defensive fortress. It was built at the end of the 19th century as a luxurious panoramic terrace for the city's elite to stroll and admire the Danube. Its name comes from the guild of fishermen who defended that stretch of city wall during the Middle Ages. You don't lose your hair color with age, you're bleaching yourself from the inside. Your hair follicles naturally produce hydrogen peroxide. When you're young, an enzyme called catalase neutralizes it. As you age, you stop producing that enzyme. Without protection, your own body applies pure peroxide to your hair from the root, destroying the pigment strand by strand. In 1990, the Voyager 1 spacecraft took the famous pale blue dot photo from nearly 4 billion miles away. Earth appears as a barely visible speck of light. Carl Sagan wrote that all of human history, every war, Every love story happened on that tiny mote of dust suspended in the darkness of space. The flag of Mozambique is the only national flag in the world that features a modern weapon, an AK-47 assault rifle with a bayonet, representing the defense of the nation, crossed with a hoe symbolizing agriculture. No other country on the planet displays a contemporary automatic weapon. An octopus has 3 hearts and blue blood. 2 hearts pump blood to the gills, and the third pumps it to the rest of the body. Its blood is blue because it uses copper-based hemocyanin instead of iron. When it swims at full speed, its main heart actually stops beating. Phantom traffic jams happen when one driver brakes just a little harder than necessary. The car behind brakes harder, the next one even harder. That chain reaction creates a wave of stopped cars that travels backward at about 10 miles per hour. The decorator crab has the most active camouflage system in the ocean. Its shell is covered in stiff, Velcro-like hairs. Using its claws, it rips off pieces of algae, sponges, and anemones and sticks them all over its body, transforming itself into a walking underwater garden. You'll never board a plane from the right side, and it's the Vikings' fault. Their longships had a steering oar mounted on the right side, called starboard, so they could only dock on the left to avoid breaking it. When airplanes were invented, engineers copied maritime law and treated them like ships of the sky. Crabs walk sideways because their leg joints are designed to bend outward, not forward. This lets them move fast between rocks without tripping over their own limbs. If they tried to walk straight ahead like a human, their legs would constantly jam against each other. Sideways is the only way that works. The canopy of a tropical rainforest blocks almost all sunlight. If an old tree falls and opens a gap of light, thousands of plants launch into a desperate, life-or-death race to grow into that bright patch before the neighboring trees close it up again. In the jungle, light is currency. Inside your phone, there's a tiny MEMS gyroscope. When you tilt or rotate your phone, the Coriolis force alters the vibration pattern of those arms. A sensor reads that shift and tells the screen to rotate. It's a physical, mechanical device, not software. There are tiny moving parts inside your phone right now. Table salt has an expiration date printed on the package, but salt as a mineral has existed on Earth for millions of years without breaking down. That date is for the plastic container, which degrades over time, or for added iodine, which can lose potency. To know if you can truly afford something expensive, use the rule of 5. If you can't buy that item 5 times over in cash without your finances collapsing, you mathematically can't afford it. You're just stretching your limits to live beyond your real means. If the math doesn't work 5 times, it doesn't work once. Social media invented infinite scroll by removing the bottom of the page. Your brain has no visual signal that says stop, so it doesn't know when to quit. That trance state lets 2 hours evaporate without you noticing. In Yoro, Honduras, fish literally fall from the sky during certain storms. This phenomenon has been documented for over a century. The leading theory is that waterspouts over the ocean suck fish into the air and carry them dozens of miles inland before dropping them on the town. Skyscrapers don't exist because we invented steel. They exist because Elisha Otis invented the elevator safety brake. Before that, if the cable snapped, you died. Otis designed spring-loaded steel teeth that bite into the guide rails the instant a cable breaks, stopping the fall immediately. For spiders and snakes, venom is an external digestive system. They inject enzymes that dissolve their prey's internal organs from the inside out, turning everything into a nutritious liquid smoothie. The spider just walks up and drinks the contents without wasting any energy chewing or digesting tough tissue. Pistachios aren't nuts, they're seeds. They're distant relatives of mangoes and cashews, and their green color comes from chlorophyll, the same pigment found in leaves. Here's something birds figured out before most people. The green heron uses pieces of bread as bait to lure fish, just like human anglers do. It knows bread floats, attracts fish, and strikes at exactly the right moment. It's one of the most impressive examples of intelligence and adaptation in the animal kingdom. Think Oreos are just cookies? To celebrate the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Bros., Oreo released a special edition featuring mushrooms, stars, and the iconic Mario embossed on each cookie. They even included a QR code that unlocked an online minigame, bringing generations of gamers and cookie lovers together. What if blue eyes aren't actually blue? Their color is an optical illusion caused by Rayleigh scattering, the same effect that makes the sky look blue. Because the iris contains very little melanin, light scatters in a way that creates a blue appearance, even though there's no blue pigment at all. These shoes look straight out of science fiction. Innovative motorized shoes let you walk at about 7 miles per hour without extra effort. Smart sensors and powered wheels automatically match your stride, while an automatic braking system detects obstacles. They're built to make long city walks feel effortless. Sports broadcasts just leveled up. During the Women's Rugby World Cup in the year 2025, drones captured plays from breathtaking angles impossible for the human eye. The result was a whole new way to experience the action on the field. Finding a vein just got a lot easier. Devices like the AccuVein, along with its competitor Vein Viewer, project a real-time map of your veins onto your skin using infrared light. That helps doctors draw blood or insert IVs more accurately, especially for children, older adults, and patients with hard-to-find veins. What if dolphin shows didn't need real dolphins? A company built an incredibly lifelike animatronic dolphin that mimics swimming, breathing, and floating with astonishing realism. It offers an ethical alternative to marine animal performances without capturing or training live dolphins. Some cities are bigger than countries. Chongqing, China, is home to more than 30 million people, giving it a population larger than many entire nations. It's administered as its own province-level municipality and is famous for towering skyscrapers, dramatic mountain scenery, and its legendary spicy cuisine. The future of transportation is taking off. Dubai is introducing electric flying taxis powered by artificial intelligence. They can carry up to 2 passengers at speeds of about 75 miles per hour, helping reduce traffic while combining futuristic design with cleaner technology. Tiny backpacks are changing agriculture. Researchers at the University of Washington developed miniature smart backpacks that can be safely placed on bees. Equipped with microchips and sensors, they track the bees in real time to map farmland and improve pollination, helping protect biodiversity around the world. One of the world's favorite foods had humble beginnings. Modern pizza was born in Naples, Italy, during the 18th century as food for the poor, made with bread, tomatoes, and olive oil. In the year 1889, the margherita pizza was created to honor the Queen using mozzarella, basil, and tomatoes to represent the colors of the Italian flag. Imagine surfing, but with a kite pulling you. Kite surfing blends surfing, paragliding, and wakeboarding into one thrilling sport. Riders use a board and a giant kite to race across the water, launching into spectacular jumps and tricks. It demands skill, balance, and total control of the wind. This looks like Venom came to life. An engineer created a real suit inspired by Venom that reacts to ferrofluid, a magnetic liquid that changes shape and appearance when exposed to electromagnetic fields. The result mimics the movement of the comic book symbiote, blending science, art, and superhero passion. Your phone might know how you're feeling. Some artificial intelligence apps analyze your typing patterns, writing style, and voice to detect your emotional state. Some even recommend changes to your digital environment to improve your well-being, opening new possibilities for mental health support. Sometimes tension creates movie magic. During the filming of Dirty Dancing in the year 1987, Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey. Ironically, that same tension gave their characters unforgettable chemistry, helping make the film one of cinema's greatest classics. Walking again is becoming reality. An advanced robotic exoskeleton was designed to help people with paralysis regain mobility. Lightweight and highly precise, It uses sophisticated algorithms to support the spine and legs, allowing movements that feel remarkably natural. The operating room is getting smarter. In Japan, engineers developed a robot capable of performing highly precise surgical tasks autonomously while assisting surgeons during complex procedures. It analyzes medical images in real time and makes incredibly accurate incisions, opening exciting new possibilities for minimally invasive surgery. Some schools travel by boat. Since the year 2002, the Shidhulai Swanarvar Sangstha organization in Bangladesh has operated a fleet of solar-powered boats that serve as floating schools and libraries. During monsoon floods, they bring books and education directly to isolated villages, helping thousands of children stay connected to learning. Nature can turn cars into ice sculptures. During a voyage from South Korea to Vladivostok, Russia, vehicles aboard a ship were covered in massive layers of ice after temperatures in the Sea of Japan dropped to about 22 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. Viral photos showed cars frozen beyond recognition. This roller coaster feels like driving a Formula One car. Ferrari Land's Red Force launches riders to about 112 miles per hour in just 5 seconds, recreating the intense G-forces experienced by professional drivers. It's one of Europe's most adrenaline-packed attractions. This motorcycle doesn't just ride, it flies. The LMV 496 is a hybrid motorcycle that transforms into a drone at the push of a button. Its wheels fold away, propellers deploy, and it lifts into the air, offering a bold vision of personal transportation for the future. Before Hollywood, there was hockey. Keanu Reeves was once a promising ice hockey player in Canada, but serious injuries ended his athletic dreams. That unexpected turn led him into acting, where he became one of Hollywood's most respected and beloved stars. Ready for one of the biggest swings on Earth? The Nevis Swing in New Zealand's Nevis Valley is the tallest swing in the world, suspended about 440 feet above the ground. It accelerates to roughly 62 miles per hour in about a second, delivering an unforgettable rush. This dog looks like it escaped a cartoon. A real Cavapoo, a mix between a poodle and a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, has white fur and black ears that make it look almost identical to Snoopy. Its owner shares videos online where thousands of people can't get enough of its adorable appearance. Night vision has reached another level. American soldiers use military vision goggles that combine thermal imaging with white phosphor technology, allowing them to see in darkness, almost as if it were daylight. They can also detect distant objects, giving troops a crucial advantage in low visibility situations. Bigger doesn't always mean busier. King Fahd International Airport in Saudi Arabia is the largest airport in the world by land area, covering more space than several small countries. It doesn't handle the most passengers. That title belongs to Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, but its sheer scale is astonishing. Here's one way to cool off after an argument. In Italy, a man walked about 280 miles after a fight with his wife to clear his head. The journey lasted 2 weeks. When police finally found him exhausted, he admitted the long walk gave him time to deeply reflect on his life. Coffee with eggs? It actually exists. Hanoi, Vietnam is famous for egg coffee, made by whipping egg yolks with sweetened condensed milk, sugar, and strong coffee into a rich, creamy drink. It was invented during a milk shortage when eggs became the perfect substitute. These bike tires are practically indestructible. Built using technology developed by NASA for lunar and Mars missions, they never need air and can't go flat thanks to shape memory metal. They automatically adapt to rough terrain, delivering incredible performance in extreme conditions. Here's a metal that breaks your expectations. Mercury is so dense that some heavy objects can float on its surface instead of sinking. Because it stays liquid at room temperature, it has unique physical properties that continue to help scientists better understand the behavior of metals. Chocolate is a treat for us, but a danger for dogs. The reason is theobromine, a caffeine-like compound that dogs can't process efficiently. Even small amounts can cause vomiting, seizures, or even death, which is why chocolate should never be given to any dog. This Jeep looks impossible. At Morocco's National Automobile Museum, you'll find a Jeep Wrangler that's been cut apart and rebuilt using only its outer halves, creating an incredibly narrow vehicle with room for just one person. It's both functional and one of the museum's most fascinating attractions. This swing creates its own waterfall. Deus Ex Machina is an 18-foot-tall swing that activates solenoids as it moves, releasing a carefully controlled cascade of water. The system filters and recycles the water, creating a stunning, interactive experience without wasting natural resources. Sometimes amber preserves history better than stone. In the year 2016, scientists discovered a 99-million-year-old dinosaur tail preserved in amber in Myanmar. Covered in delicate feathers, it belonged to a theropod dinosaur and provided powerful evidence that many dinosaurs had bird-like feathers. Shopping just got more comfortable. Some malls in China feature husband pods, private lounges with comfortable chairs, air conditioning, video game consoles, and Wi-Fi where men can relax while their partners shop. The idea reduces shopping fatigue, though it has also sparked debate about gender stereotypes. This fungus turns insects into zombies. Cordyceps infects insects, takes control of their bodies, and uses them to spread spores from strategic locations. A study released in the year 2025 suggested it could also help create biological insecticides, reducing the need for harmful chemicals. This might be the world's tiniest TV. A Simpsons fan built a miniature television just under half an inch wide using a three-dimensional printer. It actually plays real episodes of the show using a Raspberry Pi, complete with a working screen, speakers, and the classic purple TV design from the early seasons. Dogs understand us better than almost any other animal. They can naturally interpret human gestures, like pointing with a finger, in ways no other species can match. Centuries of domestication shape this remarkable ability, making dogs invaluable companions for hunting, guarding, and rescue missions. This restaurant is unlike anything you've seen. Modern Toilet Restaurant in Taipei, Taiwan, is built entirely around a bathroom theme. Guests sit on toilets, eat from toilet-shaped dishes, and enjoy meals served in miniature toilet bowls, creating one of the most unusual dining experiences anywhere. Meet one of the world's oldest dog breeds. The Xoloitzcuintli, also known as the Mexican hairless dog, comes in both hairless and coated varieties. Revered by the Aztecs, it has a history stretching back thousands of years. Hairless dogs need extra protection from the sun, but both types are intelligent, loyal companions. When night falls, Brisbane lights up. A spectacular laser show over Australia's Brisbane River transforms the sky with brilliant colors and geometric patterns for about 10 minutes during festival season. It's become one of the region's most unforgettable visual events. Here's a statistic that's hard to believe. Every year, the world wastes nearly 1 billion metric tons of food. Households account for the largest share, followed by restaurants and major retailers. The economic and environmental impact is enormous, especially while millions of people still face hunger every day. Ball lightning appears as glowing spheres during thunderstorms, but scientists still don't fully understand what causes it. Viral videos seem to show these strange lights drifting across railroad tracks, while experts continue searching for the physics behind one of the rarest weather phenomena on Earth. Pheasant Island, sitting in the Bidassoa River, actually changes hands every 6 months. Half the year it belongs to France, the other half to Spain, all thanks to a treaty signed back in 1659. It's the only place on Earth with this kind of arrangement, and that odd little quirk of history turns it into a genuinely fascinating border destination. Ever heard of shoe plank racing? It's a sport straight out of southern China, born from ancient military training drills. Racers strap into oversized shoes mounted on a single plank and have to move in perfect sync just to stay upright. It takes serious coordination and teamwork, and over the years, it's grown into a beloved regional pastime. China just built a humanoid robot that can swap out its own batteries, completely on its own, no human help required. Designed for device maintenance, it's a genuine leap forward for robotics and AI. Self-sufficient machines like this one could completely reshape how we interact with everyday technology. Artistic cycling is basically gymnastics on two wheels. Riders pull off jumps, spins, and intricate routines while keeping total control of the bike the entire time. It demands intense focus, coordination, and elite-level physical skill. Athletes perform in front of judges and crowds who reward both flawless technique and pure artistic flair. Meet the Nubai, a bike with no chain at all. Instead, riders pedal vertically using a completely new mechanism. Less maintenance, more energy efficiency, and it works out more muscle groups at once. At around $3,000, it blends cutting-edge engineering with a genuinely unique workout. Mirage Gestad is a jaw-dropping art installation by American artist Doug Aitken, built into the Swiss Alps. The house-shaped structure is completely covered in mirrors that reflect the landscape around it. In winter, it vanishes into the snow. In spring, it glows green with the surrounding mountains. A perfect, fascinating fusion with nature. In Tokyo, there's a restaurant where your sushi comes off a 3D printer. It's called Sushi Singularity. And before you even sit down, you have to submit your biometric data so every piece gets personalized to your health and taste. It's a wildly futuristic spin on one of Japan's oldest culinary traditions. The soap mask, dreamed up by Creative Lab AeroSoap, is exactly what it sounds like, a mask made of soap. It offers zero real protection, but blow through it and it turns into a floating cloud of bubbles. Born as a quirky way to break the monotony of lockdown, it turns your face into a literal bubble machine. The proboscis monkey, native to Southeast Asia, is famous for one thing: its huge, fleshy nose. And that nose isn't just for show. Males with bigger noses can make louder calls, which helps them attract mates and defend their turf. It's a wild evolutionary trait scientists are still studying today. In Dubai, a designer unveiled a wedding cake worth over $1 million. It depicted an Arab bride and was covered in diamonds and fully edible flowers. Part dessert, part masterpiece, it stood as a pure symbol of the extreme luxury Dubai is known for. Airports across the US have started installing interactive machines that teach CPR in just 5 minutes. Built to boost public awareness around cardiac emergencies, they let anyone learn life-saving basics on the spot. It's proof that even a public space like an airport can be turned into somewhere genuinely safer. A Berlin art collective called Raubdruckerin had a wild idea: turn manhole covers into printing plates. Those everyday, purely functional slabs of metal became tools for stamping intricate designs onto t-shirts. It's a clever nudge to rethink recycling, and a reminder that anything ordinary can become extraordinary. Japan has capsule hotels for cats. Pets get to relax in cozy little beds and enjoy playtime while their owners are away traveling. It's a service built entirely around feline comfort, and it says a lot about Japan's deep, almost obsessive love for its animal companions. A microscopic Bible was never meant to be read. It was built purely as a feat of engineering, and today it sits in museums as this strange, beautiful mix of art, science, and faith. It's a stunning example of just how far miniaturization technology can go. Back in 2019, Egypt hosted an iftar dinner that stretched almost 2 miles long. Over 6,000 people showed up to break their Ramadan fast together, and the whole thing was designed to snag the world record for the longest iftar table ever. A massive, symbolic celebration of community and unity. Ever seen a transparent French fry? Here's how it's made. The flavor gets extracted straight from real potatoes and mixed into a gel, which then gets fried in oil. What comes out looks like glass, but tastes exactly like classic fries. A snack that messes with your eyes just as much as your taste buds. When your dog curls up by your feet, it's not just about comfort, it's about connection. That instinct comes from wanting to stay close to the protector of the pack. Sleeping near your feet gives your dog warmth and companionship, and honestly, it's good for both of you. A truck driver in China found himself in a nightmare scenario. His pine oil cargo caught fire mid-drive. Without hesitation, he steered the burning truck straight to the nearest fire station. That split-second decision protected everyone nearby and saved his own life. Firefighters put out the blaze fast, all thanks to one gutsy call. On the Greek island of Thassos sit some of the oldest, purest white marble quarries on Earth. Ancient Greeks were already mining this stone, and it's the same marble used to build the Parthenon. Today, it's still exported worldwide for statues and major works of art. D30 is a material that sounds like science fiction. Soft and flexible until impact. When it instantly hardens to absorb the blow, no bulky padding required. It's already showing up in sports gear, protective clothing, and wearable tech. Anywhere safety and comfort need to coexist. Meet the Paint Cam Eve, a security camera with an AI twist. It recognizes faces and fires paintballs at intruders to scare them off. No serious harm done. Add night vision and facial recognition into the mix, and you've got a creative, non-lethal alternative that's catching on fast for homes and businesses. The Game Boy printer let you print real photos straight from your Game Boy camera instantly. The image quality wasn't great, but it was one of the earliest attempts at merging gaming with portable photography. Today, it's a prized collector's item among retro gaming fans. Ferrofluid clocks use magnetic particles suspended in liquid that react to magnetic fields in real time. Those particles shape themselves into flowing numbers to tell the time. The result is this hypnotic, ever-shifting visual, turning something as simple as checking the clock into a tiny piece of tech theater. In Oaxaca, Mexico, 30 people got symbolically married to trees. It was a protest against deforestation, organized by Peruvian environmentalist Richard Torres to raise awareness about protecting forests. International media picked it up fast, sparking a much bigger conversation about the future of our ecosystems. Drop a gummy bear into potassium chloride and watch what happens. The chemical reacts violently with the sugar and other ingredients, completely transforming its texture. It's a simple experiment, but the result is genuinely shocking and a fun, hands-on way to see chemistry in action. In Japan, the Henna Hotel is staffed entirely by humanoid robots. Since 2015, it's used AI to fully automate everything. Check-in, room service, even cleaning. It's a glimpse at how automation could reshape hospitality with barely any human staff at all. Ligari specializes in epoxy, resin, and their kits let anyone create show-stopping decorative surfaces, from floors to countertops. Some artists even use it to build underwater oasis scenes with color, texture, and submerged objects. It turns any surface into a genuinely one-of-a-kind piece of functional art. The Apple Liquid Glass 2030 concept imagines a whole new kind of interface, ultra-durable, tactile surfaces that behave like liquid glass. Inspired by systems like iOS 26, it promises tougher screens, more precise touch response, and a look that feels straight out of the future. The Hyundai Tiger is an unmanned autonomous vehicle built for extreme terrain. Think Mars-level extreme. It can roll and walk, adapting to whatever ground it's on. Packed with advanced sensors, it navigates without any human input, paving the way for future missions on planets we can't reach with regular vehicles. Did you know Squid Game was originally planned as a one-season show? It blew up so hard that Netflix ordered 2 more seasons on the spot. Creator Hwang Dong-hyuk had just 6 months to write and shoot the follow-up. Wild to think one of the most watched shows on the planet almost ended after a single run. The UAE-1 is a luxury mega yacht inspired by aircraft carriers, built for the Sheikh of the United Arab Emirates. Loaded with advanced tech and an efficient propulsion system built for extreme conditions, it delivers every comfort imaginable on board. It's a floating symbol of power, sophistication, and top-tier naval engineering. In Amsterdam, there's a cat named Nemus who wears his own tiny police vest for safety. He's become a social media sensation thanks to his adorable look and that one-of-a-kind accessory. This little feline with big personality has charmed people all over the world with his unmistakable style. Bosnian artist Jasenko Dordovic turns pencils into miniature masterpieces. We're talking tiny buildings and everyday objects carved with jaw-dropping precision, requiring insane patience. He transforms ordinary wooden pencils into genuine works of art, all at an impossibly small scale. Dubai lit up its night sky with something wild. Projections of Mars beamed straight into the atmosphere using advanced tech. Locals and tourists got to experience the red planet in a whole new way, a striking reminder of just how far humanity has pushed the boundaries of space exploration. American athlete Christopher Spell just broke the world record for the highest vertical jump ever recorded by a human, clearing 5 feet 7 inches using nothing but raw leg power. No equipment, no gimmicks, just pure muscle. It's inspiring people everywhere to push past their own limits. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter sounds terrifying, but it's mostly empty space. Sure, it holds millions of asteroids, but they're spread so far apart that collisions are almost impossible. In Japan, there's a service called Debukari where you can literally rent an overweight person for events, challenges, all kinds of activities. It sparked plenty of controversy, but it's also opened up a bigger conversation about body image, stereotypes, and what real inclusion looks like in modern Japanese society. Across China, cafes are popping up where the barista is a robot. Precision sensors and mechanical arms brew your coffee to the exact same standard every single time, fully customized to your taste. It's a clear sign of just how deep automation is reaching into the food and beverage world. Butter sculpting started in the Middle Ages, when monks carved religious figures out of it. Today, it's a full-blown culinary art form, showing up at fairs and festivals worldwide. The Citroen Skate rides on spherical wheels with built-in motors, letting it move in any direction at speeds up to 15 miles per hour. It's part of a bigger push toward autonomous urban vehicles, aiming to cut down traffic and make transportation smoother in the world's most congested cities. The Matrix Vita keyboard comes with a tiny screen in the top right corner where you can display any GIF or custom image you want. Throw in RGB backlighting and fully customizable keys, and you've got the ultimate setup for gamers and professionals who want to push desk personalization to the max. German engineering company Festo built a robotic bee called the Bionic Bee, and it can fly in autonomous swarms, mimicking real bee behavior down to the last detail. This tech could be a game changer for artificial pollination, offering a real solution to the alarming worldwide decline in natural bee populations. Those squishy, water-filled piggy toys? They're made from silicone or gel, prized for their soft texture and instant stress relief. One squeeze and you get pure satisfaction. Loved by kids and adults alike, they've become a go-to tool for everyday stress relief and a huge hit in online stores. A kite surfer in Brazil pulled off a jump over what looks like an island, but is actually a peninsula about 420 feet wide. With enough wind, kite surfers can clear even bigger stretches than that. This extreme sport blends raw physical skill with the sheer power of the wind for an experience you can only get out on the open ocean. Projections in the Forest is a video mapping project that turns a real forest in Brazil into something out of a dream. A fully bioluminescent landscape created entirely with digital projections onto real plants and fungi. It transforms the forest into a living canvas of light and color, a magical, one-of-a-kind experience for anyone who walks through it at night. A levitating clock uses magnets, sensors, and digital components to create a floating sphere that ticks off the seconds in midair. It's not just a clock, it's a piece of tech art that plays with gravity and magnetism, constantly amazing anyone who watches its strange, endless motion. Turns out, Coca-Cola can strip rust off metal. That's thanks to the phosphoric acid in its formula. Surprisingly, it can remove corrosion without wrecking your stomach in moderate amounts. But drink too much of it, and the long-term effects on your teeth and digestion are well documented and not good. Maurice Tillett was a professional wrestler who had acromegaly, a condition that causes abnormal bone growth. His unusual look and massive size made him a star in the 1940s under the ring name the French Angel, even though he also faced plenty of social rejection. Instead of hiding, he became a legend of the ring, and many believe his face was the inspiration for Shrek. One artist decided to throw out the rulebook and started painting using a puppet. With every brushstroke, the puppet dances and comes alive, turning the whole painting process into a live performance. It's a mix of precision, creativity, and split-second choreography, resulting in expressive art and a theatrical experience that completely captivates any audience watching. Yuko is a traditional Korean dish made from raw lean beef, fresh egg yolk, soy sauce, sesame oil, garlic, and ginger, all served cold. It's prepared with real delicacy, designed to highlight just how fresh the ingredients are, and it's a favorite among locals and curious travelers alike. Veterinarian Chloe Whiting came up with a genius trick, strapping an Apple Watch to a lion's tongue to track its heart rate with precision. The method turned out to be a completely non-invasive way to monitor the animal's health, a clever use of everyday tech for keeping tabs on wild animals. Nathan Sawaya holds the world's largest Lego art exhibit, featuring over 100 pieces. His most iconic sculpture, called Yellow, shows a human figure cracking open its own chest, with yellow bricks spilling out. It's been displayed in museums around the world and shows just how powerful Lego can be as an artistic medium. Some makeup artists can create mind-bending optical illusions right on skin, like three-dimensional cuts or gaping holes, using nothing but shading techniques. No digital effects at all. These pieces are so detailed they trick the eye completely, looking painfully real even though they're entirely hand-painted. Some designers make dresses out of balloons. It's called balloonology, and it's used in runway shows and temporary art installations. These dresses are incredibly creative but don't last long at all, more visual art and entertainment than practical fashion. Still, they mesmerize everyone who sees them on the runway. King Koi Coffee Garden offers a dining experience like no other. Guests eat their meals surrounded by over 3,000 koi fish. Known as symbols of good luck and prosperity, the fish glide by while visitors dine in a completely calm, harmonious setting. It's a hotspot known for both its food and its unforgettable atmosphere. After 22 years in the NBA, LeBron James's feet tell a whole story. Calluses, deformities, structural wear you wouldn't believe. And yet at 40 years old, he's still an elite athlete despite all that damage. His longevity in the most demanding sport on the planet is a testament to relentless discipline and non-stop physical maintenance. In the year 2010, Perry Watkins built a vehicle shaped like a full dining set, and it hit a top speed of 114 miles per hour, earning a Guinness World Record as the fastest piece of furniture on Earth. This bizarre invention proves that creativity really has no limits. Airspeeder is a futuristic racing series featuring electric flying cars that hit crazy speeds while flying just 30 feet off the ground. Built with cutting-edge tech by Alauda Aeronautics, these vehicles race on custom-built tracks, promising to reshape not just racing, but the entire future of urban mobility. Did you know your phone is dirtier than a public toilet? Smartphones can carry up to 10 times more bacteria than a toilet seat, mostly because we're constantly touching them with unwashed hands. A solid reminder to clean your phone regularly if you want to avoid spreading potentially dangerous germs. In Norway, there's a 12th century wooden church called a stave church that blends Christian architecture with Viking-era details. Its steep, pointed roofs and carved dragon figures echo Old Norse ships, while inside you'll find traditional Christian altars. This structure has survived over 800 years of brutal weather. Lucas the penguin from the San Diego Zoo was suffering from a painful foot condition that made walking agony. To improve his quality of life, vets and prosthetic specialists custom-built him tiny orthopedic shoes out of soft, waterproof material. Ever since he started wearing them, Lucas is back to swimming, playing, and hanging out with the other penguins. In Bern, Switzerland, locals jump straight into the Aar River with a waterproof bag holding their clothes and just let the current carry them downstream. Once they reach their stop, they climb out, dry off, and go on with their day like it's nothing. A form of transportation that's fun, eco-friendly, and refreshing all in one. In India, henna body art, known as mehndi, is an ancient tradition used in weddings, festivals, and religious rituals. It's applied in intricate designs across hands and feet. It's not just decorative, it's believed to bring good luck and ward off the evil eye. It's even said to have cooling, healing properties that help with headaches, fevers, and stress. The human eye holds around 120 million rod cells and 6 million cone cells, all packed into a space the size of a postage stamp. Rod cells let you see in low light, while cone cells handle color. That balance makes the eye one of the most complex, impressive systems in the entire human body. A tattoo artist known as Mr. Sticker creates tattoos so realistic they look like stickers that could peel right off your skin. His groundbreaking 3D technique has completely shaken up the industry, giving clients designs that look temporary but are 100% permanent. An artist who's totally redefined what modern tattooing can look like. The Huawei Mate X-T made history as the first smartphone with a screen that folds into 3 separate parts. Loaded with ultra-durable materials, top-tier cameras, a high-capacity battery, and built-in 5G, this phone can go from compact to full tablet in just a couple of moves. At the Giant Balloon Parade in Santiago, Chile, back in 2024, characters like Mickey Mouse and Spider-Man took over the skies above the city streets. Inspired by New York's famous parades, the event featured balloons over 30 feet tall and drew thousands of excited spectators. Endless pools, also called current pools, use a system that lets swimmers stay in one spot while swimming against a steady current. They're popular in tight spaces and elite training facilities, giving swimmers the feeling of swimming down an endless river without ever moving an inch. Perfect for high-performance training. Ladybugs have this wild ability to trace the ink line of a pen or pencil perfectly. But here's the twist. They're not actually following a trail of their own. The ink contains a compound that smells almost exactly like a trail pheromone, the chemical signal tons of insects use to mark their paths. That's why they chase the line even when it zigzags, completely fooled by the scent. Russell O'Grady started working at McDonald's Australia back in 1986, and for 32 years straight, he became a symbol of kindness and inclusion in his community. His story proves just how deeply a positive attitude and a warm heart can transform the lives of both employees and the customers who see them every day. In Ankara, Turkey, garbage collection workers built an entire library using more than 6,000 books people had thrown away. Constructed with recycled materials, the project gives old books a second life, encourages reading, and promotes sustainability. Proof that forgotten resources can be creatively reused to benefit an entire community. On July 26, 2025, La Cartuja Stadium in Seville hosted a nighttime boxing event for a crowd of 85,000 people. It was the first time the event ran at night, specifically to dodge the brutal daytime heat, promising a night packed with pure energy, spectacle, and adrenaline. Photochromic lenses, the ones that darken in sunlight, react to ultraviolet rays and can even darken on cloudy days. The technology relies on compounds that shift their molecular structure the moment they hit UV light, putting real optical science to work for everyday comfort and eye protection, no matter the weather. Falcon's Flight, currently under construction in Saudi Arabia, is set to become the fastest, longest, and tallest roller coaster on the planet. It'll hit speeds over 155 miles per hour, run nearly 2.5 miles of track, and feature terrifying drops off artificial cliffs. Who says Crocs aren't edible? There are actually edible Crocs made out of waffles, stuffed with all kinds of flavors inside. It's a clever, playful mashup of fashion and food that's caught the attention of Crocs fans everywhere. You definitely can't wear them, but you can absolutely snack on them. One man painted the character Stitch onto the ground, using nothing but colored chalk, creating a jaw-dropping piece of street art at full scale. The perspective was so precise that from just the right angle, it looked like the animated character was popping right off the pavement, stunning everyone who walked by. Did you know you're more likely to die from a champagne cork than from a venomous spider bite? Corks can fly out at incredible speed and cause serious injuries, especially to the eyes. A fact that completely changes how dangerous those harmless everyday moments really are. Kids today don't play in the dirt, don't spend time around farm animals, and use antibacterial gel constantly, so their immune systems never get to fight real threats. Instead, they start attacking completely harmless things, like pollen or peanuts. Smell is the only one of our 5 senses that skips the thalamus entirely, the brain's logical, rational control center. The olfactory bulb connects directly to the amygdala, home of our emotions, and the hippocampus, home of our memories. That's why someone's perfume can trigger attraction. A bat's wings are as thin as just a few layers of skin cells, but they're packed with blood vessels. So if a bat tears a huge hole in its wing, one big enough to stop it from flying, it doesn't die. Its tissue regenerates at up to 1/12 of an inch per day, closing even massive tears in just a couple of weeks. McDonald's put up a billboard in the Netherlands that actually releases the smell of their fries into the street. The sign pumps out the scent of freshly made fries to hit passers-by right in the nose, triggering instant cravings. The campaign pulled in extra customers who simply couldn't resist walking in. Advertising that skips your eyes completely and goes straight for your nose. The higanbana flower, known in Japan as the flower of hell, is a stunning red bloom that symbolizes death, reincarnation, and farewell. It's poisonous, and ancient farmers used to plant it around graveyards to keep wild animals from digging up the ground. The tallest sandcastle on Earth was built in Blokhus, Denmark, back in 2021, standing 69 feet tall, taller than a 7-story building. It took thousands of tons of sand and weeks of painstaking work with specialized tools. It was so impressive, it smashed the Guinness World Record for the category. Imagine standing next to something that massive, made almost entirely out of sand. Willard Wiggin creates sculptures small enough to fit inside the eye of a needle, using his own eyelashes as paintbrushes. He works between his own heartbeats, because even his pulse is strong enough to ruin days of work in an instant. His pieces depict cultural icons in a space smaller than a single grain of rice. The oxalis plant has a wild way of spreading its seeds. It's called ballistic dispersal. Its mature seed pods build up internal pressure until the slightest touch sets off an explosion, launching seeds with so much force they trigger nearby pods in a chain reaction. It's an evolutionary trick that lets it colonize new territory fast. No wind or animals required. Uruguayan artist Joaquin Arbiza spent 3 years building a full-size replica of a sports car using nothing but Uruguayan peso coins, glued on one by one. Thousands upon thousands of coins form the entire body, giving it this shiny, handcrafted metallic look. The detail is so precise the car looks real at first glance. He named it the Messi Pagani. In Japan, there are roads that play actual music when cars drive over them at just the right speed. Grooves cut into the asphalt with mathematical precision generate musical notes as tires roll over them. Drive too fast or too slow, and the sound turns to noise, but hit the right speed and you'll hear traditional Japanese songs. It started as a creative way to promote safe driving, and now it's become a popular tourist attraction. A musical road trip, literally. April 11th, 1954, was flagged by an algorithm as the most boring day of the entire 20th century. No wars, no major accidents, Not a single notable birth or death recorded anywhere in the world. A historic, total yawn in the middle of one of the most turbulent centuries ever. Like the whole planet decided to take a collective nap. The Wuppertal Suspension Railway in Germany has been running since 1901, gliding above the city, weaving between buildings in midair. Back in 1950, a circus loaded an elephant onto the train as a publicity stunt, but the animal panicked and leaped straight into the river below the tracks. It survived, just a little banged up. The story's been immortalized in German transit history ever since. Most of the internet actually travels through undersea cables stretching thousands of miles connecting entire continents. These cables are roughly the thickness of a garden hose, yet built tough enough to survive shark bites. Each one carries thousands of simultaneous data signals, traveling at the speed of light. Without them, there'd be no YouTube, no social media, no global communication at all. The longest escalator on the planet is in Hong Kong. It's not one single escalator. It's a connected series of segments stretching over half a mile total. It links the lower financial district with residential neighborhoods up in the hills. Riley Horner lives with anterograde amnesia, a condition that resets her memory every 2 hours, wiping out everything she just experienced. She relies on written notes, alarms, and reminders from family to function day to day. Every single morning, she wakes up believing it's the date of the accident that caused her condition. It's one of the few documented cases with this exact pattern. Every summer in Ohio, bears wander down from the woods looking for food. They've started sneaking into houses, opening fridges, and poking around kitchens like uninvited wild chefs checking the menu. Locals have basically gotten used to spotting a bear in the backyard or peeking through a window. Coexisting isn't always easy, but the real issue is a shrinking natural habitat. The world record for the largest hula hoop belongs to Getty Kehayova, set in Las Vegas back in 2018, with a hoop measuring 17 feet across. Getty grew up in the circus, and her love for hula hooping pushed her to train for years to pull off this feat. Picture spinning a hoop that massive without it ever dropping. Pure strength, coordination, and balance on full display. Chicago's Skydeck skyscraper has glass balconies that jut straight out into open air, over 1,300 feet above the ground. Step up to the edge and you get this overwhelming feeling of literally walking on clouds. The entire city sprawled beneath you in every direction. The building itself is made up of 9 massive tubes rising up from the base. Roosters crow every morning to mark their territory, the exact same reason dogs pee on every corner they pass. Both behaviors are pure instinct, part of how each species communicates. A rooster's crow establishes dominance, warns off rival males, and attracts females. It's fascinating that 2 completely different animals solve the exact same territorial problem using totally different but equally effective strategies for survival. Back in the 18th century, there was a mechanical doll called the writer that could actually write out full sentences. It had over 6,000 moving parts, built with jaw-dropping precision for its era, programmed to move a hand and pen just like a real human writing in cursive. Part engineering marvel, part art piece. It was a toy for the ultra-wealthy that showed off the technical genius of its time. In Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, you'll find the largest sand nativity scene in the world. Artists from multiple countries build it every year with insane attention to detail. Full Christmas scenes packed with figures and structures that look almost real. This isn't your average tiny nativity set. There's an aerodynamic bicycle out there that can hit speeds of 87 miles per hour. Its frame looks like a missile on wheels, fully enclosed to cut wind resistance down to almost nothing. The rider lies practically flat inside, basically piloting a land-bound rocket, with everything controlled from within using precision tech. No handlebars, no windows, nothing conventional about it. It was built to break records and prove the human body, given the right push, can actually compete with motorized machines. Back in 2013, someone created a solid gold sculpture of Lionel Messi's left foot, weighing about 55 pounds and valued at over $5 million. A Japanese jewelry company commissioned it as a tribute to the Argentine star and his impact on the sport worldwide. The detail is incredible. Veins, wrinkles, and skin texture all perfectly reproduced. The Lord of the Rings films use massive physical models called bigatures to build sets like Minas Tirith and Rivendell, handcrafted with insane levels of detail. These multi-story models were filmed with special cameras to make them look full-size on screen. Using physical miniatures gave those scenes texture and realism that's genuinely hard to fake with computers alone. Vietnamese artist D.P. Trung, known online as D.P. Art Drawing, can draw two completely different portraits at the exact same time, using a technique that works almost like a printer, filling in both faces top to bottom in parallel. In one of his most viral videos, he drew Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi simultaneously, in perfect sync. This mix of extreme coordination, artistic skill, and relentless practice turned him into a social media sensation. Mexican artist Gabriel Daw builds installations using thousands of colored threads, stretched with razor-sharp precision. At first glance, they look like beams of light frozen in midair, like a rainbow got trapped inside a gallery. Every piece is handmade, thread by thread, and the precision is so exact it creates an optical illusion that shifts depending on the light and your angle of view. The Nubike bicycle is innovative and has no chain, which allows pedaling in a vertical motion. This design eliminates the need for the traditional chain, reducing maintenance and improving pedaling efficiency. Additionally, the vertical orientation allows more muscle groups to be worked. With a price of approximately $3,000, it represents an advance in bicycle design. The Jama El Fna Square in Marrakesh is one of the most vibrant places in the world, where oral storytellers and musicians keep millenary traditions alive. During the day, it functions as a bustling market, but as night falls, it transforms into a cultural stage with live performances. Its rich history makes it a symbol of the soul of Marrakesh. Veterinarian Chloe Whiting has implemented a unique practice by using an Apple Watch to measure the heart rate of lions. By placing the watch on the animals' tongues, she can obtain precise readings of their health. This innovative technique has proven effective for monitoring the condition of lions without the need for invasive procedures. An engineer created a basketball backboard with a parabolic shape. Thanks to physics simulations, any shot that bounces off it ends up in the hoop. The design takes advantage of angles and trajectories to guarantee baskets. Although it is an experiment, it shows how science can make even the worst shots go in. Félichette, the first cat to travel to space, was launched by France in 1963 as part of a space experiment. During her brief journey, her brainwaves and vital signs were measured to study how space travel affected living beings. Fortunately, the cat survived her return to Earth, and her contribution is remembered as a key step in space exploration. In Austin, Texas, a couple built a medieval Gothic-style home completely inspired by Game of Thrones. The house is filled with details such as towers, stained glass windows, carved stone, and even a throne room. Everything is decorated with shields, armor, and tapestries. They not only live there, but also receive visitors who want to experience an immersion in a fantasy world. Hoja Santa, also known as a cuyo, is an aromatic plant native to Mexico that is highly valued in gastronomy and traditional medicine. Its large green leaves have an anise aroma and are used to wrap fish, tamales, or prepare sauces. In Oaxacan and Veracruz cuisine, it is essential, being part of the indigenous cultural legacy. Leo is a Chinese artist who transforms paper into surprising sculptures. At first glance, his works appear solid and heavy like marble busts, but when you touch them, they stretch like accordions. They are made with thousands of meticulously joined layers of paper. The result is hypnotic and almost magical, art that breathes, moves, and surprises from every angle. Photochromic lenses react to ultraviolet rays and can darken even on cloudy days. This technology in service of our vision allows lenses to automatically adapt to light conditions, providing continuous protection without the need to change glasses. a practical invention that many of us use daily without thinking about how clever it really is. In the 2025 Boxing World Championship, gloves equipped with sensors were used to measure the force and speed of each punch. These gloves transmit data in real time to coaches, allowing strategy to be adjusted and reducing the risk of injuries. The implementation of this technology improves the performance of boxers and offers greater safety by monitoring the impact of punches. Chocolate is delicious for humans, but for dogs it can be deadly. The key lies in theobromine, an alkaloid present in chocolate similar to caffeine. For humans it acts as a stimulant, but for dogs it can be toxic, causing everything from vomiting to seizures and even death. If you ever thought about giving your dog chocolate, think twice. The Neuro R1 is an autonomous electric car designed exclusively for grocery delivery. It has no seats or steering wheel and uses 360-degree cameras and artificial intelligence to navigate city streets. It delivers groceries in cities across the United States, being an example of how the future and convenience come together in a small robot on wheels. Creating your own perfume involves mixing essential oils with alcohol. First, you choose a base note such as vanilla, then a middle note such as lavender, and a top note such as lemon. You let the mixture rest for weeks and the result is a unique, personalized scent different from any commercial perfume. Video game animators use real obstacles, platforms, and toys with cats to capture every feline jump, twist, and fall. This way they achieve authentic movement on screen. A more physical and detailed process than you might imagine. Also, the digital cat looks and moves like a real one. The gin and tonic has its origins in India, when the British East India Company created it to make the taste of quinine more pleasant, a medication used to treat malaria. Mixed with gin and sparkling water, the drink became a tasty way to take this bitter medicine. Over time, it became a popular beverage all over the world. In 2025, an underwater statue of the Virgin Mary was placed in the Bay of Guanabara, Brazil. Made with recycled materials, it is not only a religious work but also a contribution to the protection of local fishermen. It also promotes the regeneration of marine reefs. A physical high drone festival, held in 2025, made history with an impressive display of 5,000 drones that created three-dimensional floating murals in the sky, synchronized with modern Arabic music. This event broke records for its magnitude and visual beauty and raised funds to support educational projects in the Middle East. In Hamburg, Germany, there is a floating McDonald's where you can place your order directly from a kayak. You cannot order through a speaker or using your phone. The communication is completely direct and personal. This curious concept combines fast food with life on the water, creating a unique and unexpected experience for customers looking for something different. An artist has begun inserting his black cat into famous movie scenes using digital editing. From Jurassic Park to Titanic, the feline appears completely naturally, as if it were part of the cast. The result is as funny as it is well done and has gone viral on social media. Nike created sneakers that you put on without using your hands. They have a self-adjusting system that activates when you press the heel, making them ideal for people with reduced mobility or for those seeking instant comfort. Technology and fashion combine to create footwear that is functional, modern, and truly surprising. Dubai is taking a step toward the future with the launch of electrically powered flying taxis controlled by artificial intelligence. These vehicles are designed to carry up to 2 people at a speed of 75 miles per hour, which promises to ease congested urban traffic. This project could be the beginning of a revolution in passenger transportation. At 88 years old, Sumiko Iwamura breaks stereotypes as the world's oldest DJ. By night, this Japanese woman mixes music and entertains parties, proving that passion has no age. Her energy and style have won admirers who see her as an inspiring example that it is never too late to follow your dreams. The Lopafit is an electric bicycle with a treadmill. Instead of pedaling, you walk on a belt that activates the motor, like strolling effortlessly but moving at bicycle speed. It was invented in the Netherlands and blends gentle exercise with eco-friendly transportation, a unique experience on wheels. The marimba is a melodic percussion instrument made with wooden bars whose origins trace back to Africa, but it has been adopted and transformed in Latin America, especially in Guatemala and Mexico. The keys are arranged like on a piano, and underneath there are resonators that amplify the sound. In the hands of a skilled player, it can produce complex melodies full of emotion. It is cultural identity. Grass skiing is practiced without snow, using special skis with wheels. It was born in Italy as a method for training in summer. Although it may seem strange, it is competed at high speed on green hills, requiring balance, technique, and reflexes. It is the summer version of traditional skiing, but just as exciting and challenging. The custom dragster-style car has an unusual design inspired by the shape of a coffin. Although its appearance is eye-catching and extravagant, it is designed for exceptional racing performance, with powerful engines and aerodynamics optimized to reach great speeds over short distances. An example of how the visual and the functional can be combined. In 2025, a futuristic series of flying electric car races debuted, reaching 125 miles per hour at just 33 feet above the ground. These cars, designed with cutting-edge technology, are capable of flying over specially designed tracks. This innovative racing format promises to revolutionize not only the sport, but also the urban mobility of the future. During synchronized diving at the Olympic Games, athletes make intense facial expressions that are not intentional. They are caused by the extreme effort and concentration required in each jump, which demands precision, synchrony, and perfect technique. The expressions reflect the body's control in fractions of a second before hitting the water. Drone racing is a high-speed competition where pilots control small flying devices through circuits with obstacles. With special goggles, participants see everything the drone captures from a first-person perspective. This sport has grown rapidly and blends reflexes, precision, and technology, becoming a spectacle for fans of innovation. The Nishiyama Onsen Keionkan Hotel, located in Japan, has been in operation since the year 705, making it the oldest hotel in the world. Most impressively, it has been managed by the same family for more than 50 generations, preserving its legacy across the centuries. This traditional Japanese hotel is a testament to durability and family tradition. In Japan, a robot has been developed capable of performing surgeries precisely and autonomously. The robot uses artificial intelligence to analyze images in real time and make incisions with millimeter precision. Its main advantage is the ability to operate in small spaces and in highly complex situations, opening new possibilities for minimally invasive surgery. At the Iowa State Fair, a little pig named Swifty became a star by swimming with ease in a tank specially designed for him. The curious thing is that he not only swims, but does so with style, moving his little legs as if he had been training his whole life. One of the most beloved attractions at the event, proving that talent can come in the form of a snout and pink curls. Royal owls in Finland have a special way of communicating through blinking. The blinking patterns can indicate curiosity, alertness, or interest, making them experts in nonverbal language. This behavior has led to the development of applications for monitoring birds based on the interpretation of these patterns and other movements. Bruno Catalano is a French sculptor famous for his incomplete human figures made of bronze. His works appear to have large gaps in the body, as if entire parts have disappeared. These sculptures symbolize the emotional void of migrants who leave behind their homeland and loved ones. Despite their fragmented bodies, the figures remain standing, many with suitcases in hand. The Balloon World Cup turns a childhood game into an official sport. Players must prevent a balloon from touching the floor inside a room full of obstacles. Organized by Ibai Llanos, this championship blends reflexes, excitement, and laughter in a simple format that captured millions of viewers around the world. A patient played the violin while having a brain tumor removed. Doctors asked him to perform music to protect key areas of the brain, allowing them to monitor his motor function in real time. This unique operation united art and medicine to achieve a successful outcome without affecting his musical abilities. An extraordinary case that moved the world. In Japan, there are silent cafes where customers enjoy their drink in an environment with no noise or distractions. This type of cafe is designed for those seeking a refuge of calm in the middle of the daily hustle. Customers can relax, meditate, or read while enjoying their coffee in a setting that promotes tranquility. A roller coaster on the high seas. The first cruise ship to install this attraction revolutionized the travel experience for its passengers. It not only offers the adrenaline of drops and turns, but also delivers panoramic views of the open ocean. An innovative way to reinvent onboard entertainment and surprise even the most demanding travelers. Squirrels have a curious habit of hanging mushrooms on tree branches to dry, which helps them preserve them through the winter. By drying the mushrooms, they prevent bacteria and larvae from reaching their food supplies, ensuring their reserves stay in good condition. An incredible example of how animals can be very resourceful when it comes to survival. In southern Spain, in Andalusia, there is a river that looks like it came from another planet, the Tinto River. Its intense red color is due to the high concentration of heavy metals, especially iron. Despite its extreme conditions, microorganisms have managed to adapt, which has sparked NASA's interest due to its similarity to environments on Mars. An artist creates t-shirts using manhole covers as molds to print designs onto the garments. Manhole covers, normally seen as everyday functional objects, become an artistic tool with which he prints complex images. This unique style invites reflection on recycling and the transformation of the ordinary into something extraordinary. NASA uses a combination of a robotic crane and a virtual reality application to train its astronauts. This system simulates the microgravity of space, allowing future travelers to practice movements and tasks in a safe and controlled environment. Astronauts prepare this way for real conditions in orbit, improving their coordination and effectiveness. In Tulum, Mexico, there is a sensory museum unlike any other. There are no display cases or signs. The visitor is immersed in a journey that connects with Mayan cosmology and ancestral spirituality. Through lights, sounds, aromas, and textures, elements such as the underworld and sacred corn are recreated. This museum is not explored with the eyes, but with the entire body. Tony Boo is the most decorated trial rider of all time with 34 world titles. His control over the motorcycle is so precise that he can climb rocks, jump impossible obstacles, and maintain balance on minimal surfaces, all without putting his feet down. His technique combines strength, coordination, and an almost surgical precision. He does not just race, he makes art on two wheels. Toyota presented the E4 ME concept, a fully autonomous and electric individual vehicle. It is designed to offer personalized, comfortable, and technologically advanced mobility, ideal for urban travel. With futuristic shapes and intelligent systems, it allows passengers to travel without the need to drive. Additionally, its electric motor helps reduce pollution. Have you ever seen transparent French fries? They are made by extracting the flavor from potatoes, then mixing it with potato starch to create a gel that is fried until it becomes translucent. The result is a visually spectacular snack that surprises everyone who tries it. A South Korean artist created an audio visualizer that uses ferrofluids suspended in transparent liquid to display sound and motion. When music plays, the fluid responds by forming almost hypnotic dynamic patterns, translating sound waves into visual shapes that change in real time. An artistic fusion between science and music, where sound becomes visible. A Cheeto shaped similarly to the gorilla Harambe was auctioned for $99,900. Although it sounds ridiculous, collectors saw it as something unique, and it became a viral phenomenon. Sometimes the strangest things in the world can end up costing a completely unexpected fortune. In Siberia, driving in winter is a real challenge since the streets remain covered in ice for much of the year. Drivers have developed controlled drifting, not as a performance maneuver, but as a necessity for turning corners without losing control. They learn from a young age and apply it daily. What in other places would be considered reckless, there it is, an everyday skill. The Siberian husky can withstand temperatures as low as -40 degrees Fahrenheit thanks to its double layer of fur. Its physical structure is designed for extreme climates, conserving energy and heat even in freezing conditions. They are ideal companions in cold regions and have historically been used to pull sleds in extreme conditions. The Torrent Pulse is a unique device for divers that allows them to launch rings of compressed air underwater. Connected to the tank and activated with a small trigger, it releases bubbles that travel like floating hoops. It has no practical purpose, but it is hypnotic and very popular among recreational divers, a playful way to interact with the underwater environment. In the Gulf of Alaska, the Atlantic and Pacific waters appear to refuse to mix. From above, you can clearly see a sharp dividing line between two completely different colored bodies of water. And that's a wrap. Smash that like button, subscribe to Zarpado, and hit the bell. Share it with someone who loves learning. They'll thank you for it. See you in the next one.